So we are here at the Richmond Riverfront Canal Walk, which is pretty cool. So basically, the waterfront area of downtown has a lot of like the museums, the monuments, and like a bunch of other things apparently. So they have, let's see, from the description here, they have like they used to have hotel saloons and tobacco warehouses. Now, obviously, it's more of a historic like area where you can like walk through a lot of like the exhibits and maps. So we'll probably do this after the Civil War Museum just because it's like fun. And then apparently the riverfronts are the sites of millennia old Indian trade routes and of early colonial settlements. That's very interesting. But this is what I'm talking about with like the map, just to let y'all see kind of like what's going on here. Let me flip this around for y'all. There we go. So this is the canal walk, and so apparently the waterfront has history worth 150 years, and then this is the actual map. So we are here, and then this is the entire canal map. So as you can see, it stretches like a far distance like down, but we'll start here, and then I think the museum is somewhere around here. For some reason, it's not really like on the map. I think it's like up here because it's like a 5-minute walk. But we can just like go through this like really quickly and just kind of like maybe work our way down to like the flood wall, which is like right there. But yeah, that is the Richmond Riverfront Canal Walk. So and it's also a gorgeous day. There's barely any sun, some clouds which provide some cover, and then this is like the actual canal right here. Not bad for day 2 of just a random solo travel trip to Richmond. So I will see you at the museum pretty soon. Okay, so this is the American Civil War Museum, which already screams a lot of history just from the building itself. I mean, check that out. So apparently there is a historic part of the museum in addition to the actual like modern part, obviously, with like renovations. So that's the historic treasure building right over here. This is the American Civil War Museum like entrance. We have maybe a gift shop over here, or maybe like an annex part of the museum. That's pretty cool. I don't know too much about the American Civil War history, but after today we'll probably get like an education. I think Richmond has a lot of like historic buildings, but maybe it's just because like we're mainly like in the waterfront part of the actual museum. But this is pretty cool. I wonder what this anchor means. Anchor of the CSS Virginia. It must be some sort of boat. Maybe like some sort of carrier from like World War II or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, so this is the main part of the American Civil War Museum. This is probably literally transported from some part of the building. And then that is the canal walk on the far side. So I will probably film, I don't know, maybe floors of the American Civil War Museum for y'all, just to kind of see. But this is pretty cool. I just got out of the museum and I'm walking across a bridge right now, which is insane. So far, Richmond has been very interesting to like learn about the history. I had no idea that Richmond was the Confederate capital when the Civil War was going on. That was like the first big piece of news. And then the second was the historic name Traeger. So a lot of, back in the days of the Civil War, a lot of the European steel and iron makers were actually coming to the US for employment and to settle down and stuff like that, which was like interesting. And so the name Traeger, which was the historic building that was next to the Civil War Museum, so they had to ask, I think, Traeger, like the individual in Wales, for permission to name the building as such, because it would attract iron workers and steel workers from Europe to come work in Richmond, Virginia. So right now we're walking on the Robert E. Lee Bridge, I think. And this bridge appears to connect oh wow, what a view. This is pretty cool. Check this out. So this is like a bridge that connects I think 2 different sides of the shore, and it gives you like a pretty cool view of just like the river that like runs through here, hence why it's called Canal Walk, if you remember that. So look at this view. Hopefully that was a good shot, but that's pretty cool. The fact that you can just walk on the bridge and then folks are canoeing or kayaking down below, which is pretty cool. It's a nice day to be outside. Clouds are out. It's supposed to be, I think, 90 today. And then we're walking on a support structure all the way to the other side of the shore. There are folks kayaking right over there, if you can see them. Say hi to the camera. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so far pretty cool. Checked out the Civil War Museum. They had a musket demonstration as well, which is pretty cool. Saw an actual musket being fired, which was kind of scary, when you heard the bang. But I don't know what else we're gonna do for the rest of the day. We might check out some memorials, see what happens when we walk through the rest of this bridge, and I will keep you updated. So we made it on the other side of the bridge, and so this little island is called Belle Island, apparently, which is pretty cool. And it honestly feels like another world. So from the looks of it, this island of some sort used to be inhabited, or at least at the very case, there was manufacturing here. People used to live here, I think, if I'm remembering what the tour guy said about the Civil War. But it literally, it's amazing when you just explore abandoned areas. It's if you've ever been urban escaping before, where you go into abandoned buildings. Not saying I did that, just if anyone's liable by law, you know what I mean? But it's really interesting because you can see the remnants of industry, which is the same thing for I think, I've never been, but I've heard Detroit used to be a major manufacturing hub for the whole US, and then it got abandoned as jobs were shipped overseas because geopolitics, and then also at the same time labor overseas is typically cheaper compared to domestic counterparts, less skilled workers, less skilled pay, all that good stuff. So I'm walking down the riverbank, and so this is the canal that leads into, that just runs through the city, I guess. And it's pretty interesting because you can see the bridge itself, so the Robert E. Lee Bridge on the other side. You see all that moving a little bit because of the mosquitoes. That's downtown Richmond right there, and then that's where we were, and then I just decided to hike up here and then just go around. So this is pretty cool because you get to see kind of different parts of the city that have a lot of history to it, which is crazy. And then I can create a pseudo travel blog for y'all. Still kind of debating what the format is for that, but it's so green. It's kind of crazy how compared to DC, DC has green places, don't get me wrong, but I think the Virginia state as a whole ended up getting like a lot of rainfall compared to what we typically get. This appears to be some sort of trail. I think it's the Buttermilk Trail according to like the sign. But it's interesting. This looks like the structural support of like some sort of warehouse, which is interesting. I think it's like further explained like on the, oh wow, it's a lot of mosquitoes. But I'll take you so you can like have a look at this, which is pretty cool. Check that out. That's like very interesting it feels like it's almost like a different world. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it's almost like a completely different world. Look at that. We're talking like old support structures that have literally been taken over by freaking nature. And then there appears to be some sort of, maybe that's a warehouse like down there. But look at that. You see that? All that overtaken by nature. It reminds me of Cambodia when I went over to visit Angkor Wat for the first time in Wat Nom, the temple. It was not to the same extent, but like same kind of theme with nature kind of taking back what's rightfully, it's in terms of space. But yeah, so this, I think I have to read like the sign to properly inform y'all, but it's either like a former warehouse or it's just something like that. And so let's take a look at what we got over here. This is pretty cool because with this, it's so cool to have like a tool like this to kind of produce like long form content for the YouTube channel. It's almost like there's a person called Peter Santinello, really cool dude, that does like documentaries about history and like all sorts of stuff. So I feel like I'm Peter Santinello today, kind of like walking y'all through this. Look at this. This must be some sort of warehouse. Oh my god. Do you see this? This is crazy. Yeah, this must be some sort of warehouse where they literally built stuff in here. They stored it, and then after they were done with everything, they literally just didn't have a use for it anymore, so it's just kind of rusting, which is kind of a shame. I wonder why this is not like part of the museum exhibit, but yeah, this is crazy. Huh. Sorry, I'm like flipping the camera around. It's very unprofessional as a pseudo wannabe travel vlogger, but I figured I might as well make these videos for y'all just because it's like fun, and I also don't feel alone when I do a lot of solo traveling either. But this is so cool. Huh. Yeah, it's like an abandoned warehouse. I wonder what the purpose of this was. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if they, I don't know, if they stored stuff here, if they made stuff here. Maybe it's like a former factory. I'm not exactly sure, neither. But this is fun. Adventuring in Richmond, Virginia, and then slapping everything together and making it like, I think like, obviously I'm talking a lot at the camera as well. Hopefully I'm not covering the mic. But this is pretty cool. You get to see like the history of a town, especially in something that's like, historic Richmond, which is like super cool. The videos are probably going to be super long just because like I'm bringing out the camera far more than I actually thought I was going to, but who knows? I mean, if I do some more travel for the longer weekends, and I might start doing stuff like this. I know for the embassy stuff, I don't really do that a lot just because like I'm usually in the moment, like, taking footage and recording stuff, which is pretty cool. So maybe I should start adapting my personal style of vlogging. I'm still learning as I do this, you know what I mean? So, anyway, so let's see what this place is all about. Sorry, I'm like walking up to the signpost here. Old Dominion Iron and Steel. So this is 150 years of, I told you, it was 150 years of industry on Belle Isle. So what you saw here and over there, that's a factory. So that's a factory on Belle Isle. And it started in 1814 and then stopped in 1972. That's crazy. But Old Dominion Iron and Steel. So this was a nail factory. Wow. More than 200 men worked here to process 5,000 tons of iron. That's crazy. But anyway, don't want to make this video like too long. But the rest of Belle Isle, I think, doesn't have any big warehouse type stuff. It's more just like a hiking trail. So I think that'll be like the end of the Belle Isle saga for now. But I'll keep you appraised if I see anything else. So until then, I will see you fairly soon. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. See you around.